The 2020 Academy Fellowship show is up at Philadelphia's very hip Hotbed Gallery. So what the heck is this fellowship thing? Its current president, artist Barbara Sosson, gives us some background.
On April 19, 1897, 500 people met to form an organization of alumni that will come to be known worldwide as the Fellowship of the Pennsylvania Academy of the Fine Arts. Its purpose to benefit all Academy alumni.
As Barbara continues with her introduction, let's start looking at the show.
They came together at the request of Edward H. Coates, the president of PAFA, and Harrison S. Morris, their managing director. The idea had been endorsed by 32 prominent artists. We are staffed solely by volunteers, which speaks of the impressive loyalty and dedication of our board and our artists. We are an independent entity. And now here we are, after 123 years, still going strong and proud to announce this year's annual exhibition at the Hotbed Gallery, juried by Rebecca O'Leary. She has selected the work and the awards. Great job, Rebecca. Due to the COVID virus, we are not holding a public opening. However, the gallery is open for visitors. You must make an appointment. Simply visit the gallery website to plan your visit. www.hotbedphilly.com. All the works are for sale. The exhibition displays 59 works by the Academy alumni, along with 6 new Fellowship 2020 acquisitions for our Fellowship collection. That was started back in 1926 by Mary Butler. Thank you to our generous hosts, Brian Hoffman and James Oliver, co-founders of this new, upbeat, contemporary Philadelphia gallery. I also wish to thank Miriam Seidel, another Academy alum, our Fellowship Board of Directors, our advisors, Anais Cooper Hackman, the Hotbed Gallery manager.
Barbara asked my fellow PAFA alum, the brilliant Miriam Seidel, to talk about the show. She started with the prize winners.
Mary Hockendoner, The Yellow Robe, combines finely rendered surfaces with a collage-like interweaving of images that suggests fragments of memory. Ruth Wolfe, Birds, shows a knowing, witty use of imagery, with lips morphing into flying birds and the repetition of forms echoing the layering and the multiple nature of the printing process itself. Andrea Lyons, Honky Cat, Here's a playful take on volume and illusion, texture and color that transforms a flat surface into a crazy quilt staircase and then back again. The actual wood grain surface is amped up with wild color, turning it into psychedelic patterns. Georgette Wieder, Consequence. Georgette Wieder works in cast paper to create this solid yet flowing sculptural form, which gives us the feel of contrasting geological strata. Colleen Hammond, Mother and Child. Looks like it's inspired by an old black and white photograph. The artist pushes the contrast of black and white into a symbolic dimension, with the woman painted in nearly all black and facing away, and the baby she holds nearly all white and facing toward the viewer. For me, it sits on a line between melancholy and ominous. Laura Marconi, Deconstruction, presents itself at first look as an abstracted mountain ridge, but the mirroring of the overall form, like mountains reflected in water, turns it into something more geometrical, a stylized faceted crystal, or maybe a mandala set on its side. Rhoda Rosenberg, Nate's Glasses. The underlying technical virtuosity of this piece is embedded in its modest, eloquently textured surface. It sits playfully on the edge between objective and non-objective, with the glasses frames dancing in and out of focus. Rachel Citrino, Dawn. In the background of this painting, there's a great depth of saturated, luminous color. In the foreground, we see some seemingly casual marks laid down in a way that suggests Stone Age petroglyphs. Bradley Carmichael, at the Convention Center. The multiplicity of scales and details here is a bit dizzying, with competing views of paintings, clothing and jewelry, and browsing figures. It's an affectionate portrait of an art event and reminds me of Samuel Morse's Gallery of the Louvre and William Merritt Chase's In the Studio. Jordan Morgan, Phrygian II. In this strong portrait, a black man gazes straight at the viewer, his face carrying the knowledge and experiences of a lifetime. His hat, the Phrygian cap that symbolizes freedom, gives this image a symbolic connection to the Black Lives Matter movement. Inga Kimberly Brown, The Grand Dame. The artist brings great panache to this intense, ambiguous tableau, which feels at the same time celebratory, disturbing, and inclusive. The forced communion of different elements reminds me of Max Beckmann's crowded, dark dreamscapes.
Of course, many wonderful pieces did not win awards, and Miriam describes some of these as well.
Donna Bacchus, Volcano by the Sea. The artist combines acrylic and ink on canvas to give us an elegant synthesis of Japanese landscape tradition, with echoes of Hokusai's wave and views of Mount Fuji, and delicate overall hatch marks animating the billowing smoke, clouds, and lava, which recall 19th century engraving. Mo Brooker, I Come to Dance My Joy. Here's a real fireworks display with a gorgeous range of color and ensembles of squiggles and bigger strokes. After a while, it might begin to suggest a still life, with basket or checkerboard cloth below and flowers above. Maureen Durdak, Inner Perceiver. This image has great subtlety, rewarding the viewer with a surface that evolves from monochrome black to Baroque licking flames, separated by a thin demarcation of gold, and offering us a resonant visual metaphor. Rona Hoffmeyer, E Pluribus Unum. Here's a great sort of post-Me Too anti-monument, a phallic shape made up of a collection of bras, all painted white, the color of the women's suffrage movement. There are lots of cross-currents of meaning here. Patricia P. Hill, Tempest. This little oil painting achieves a huge sense of scale. It's all gesture and movement, nothing wasted. Vanessa Waring, Arundel. A dramatic marine landscape is digitally transformed into a different chromatic key, with the water turned deep green and the clouds sky blue. Barbara Sosson, Bronx Pond. Sosson anchors her forms in strong black outlining strokes, allowing the hot colors of water lily blossoms to coexist with the cooler masses of white-tinged leaves in a great dynamic balance. Nancy B. Miller, Blue Bag. I like the surprise of how this intimate still life, recalling Morandi, is like a civilized party crashed by that shiny bag of potato chips. And I like how the artist demonstrates that the same painting technique can render crinkly blue plastic, ceramic, and chips with equal poise.
Miriam also talked about all but one of the Fellowship Purchase Awards. Art by Mustafa Darwish was selected by the Academy for its museum collection and paid for by the Fellowship. Congratulations, Mustafa.
Gilbert Lewis. There's an easy fluency in this figure study in gouache that perfectly matches the calm and comfortable pose of the subject. Ausaklis Ozels, Menage à Trois. The artist gives these three open oysters a grave monumentality, which the title, Menage à Trois, tweaks with humor. The semi-abstract background gives the subject a perfect complement of colors. Patrick Connors, early spring afternoon vista between two trees. This view of an old cemetery is done with a liquid brushwork that sets everything quivering, even the graves and the curling branches against a pale blue sky. Sterling Shaw, Diurnal. This powerful dreamlike image gains its sense of suppressed energy from the orange underpainting below the blue background. The title, Diurnal, points toward a wolfman element, a hidden identity coming out only at night. Charles Newman, The Forgotten Train Bridge. In this beautifully executed piece, flickering light on water juxtaposes with the graceful arch of the solid bridge. Sarah Hunter, Enclosure. This painting combines a kind of childlike stylized rendering of its architectural elements with a subtler treatment of the sky and ground for a softly surrealist effect.
John Thornton, thank you.
Thank you, Barbara, for keeping this thing going. And let's remind everybody of our motto. The Fellowship remains. Artists helping artists. Special thanks to Koopaloop and Israel Hyman for letting me use their music in this movie.